If a city buys Bitcoin and they issue bonds, the bond becomes a Bitcoin-backed bond, right? So there are a lot of things that are happening in the economy. They're good for Bitcoin. They're just not good for every entrepreneur in the crypto ecosystem. 100 million businesses that want to do business in the dollar, and I am the controlling shareholder of MicroStrategy. I founded the company. I mean, there aren't that many CEOs that have more power than me. If I walked into a room and I ordered everybody in my finance team to convert over all the accounting systems and sell everything in Satoshis, right, and pay everybody in Satoshis, you know, you understand that if everybody didn't quit on the spot, it would be a decade and $1 billion of work. The harder strategy is you start building Bitcoin protocol or Lightning protocol into all your other products. You can build it into the iPhone, you can build it into the iCloud, you can build it into all of your other services, and they all have merit. And that's an operating strategy, and at some point that starts to correlate your revenues to the growth of the digital asset economy and the growth of Bitcoin. So, and both of those are rational. Mm-hmm. What's not rational? What's not rational is to require that all your customers pay you in Bitcoin and stop taking dollars, right? I think my view of the world is we want to find the path of least resistance to fix everything. And that means looking at every single part of the economy. Every country would be better if they had some Bitcoin. Cities can be improved if they buy Bitcoin. If a city buys Bitcoin and they issue bonds, the bond becomes a Bitcoin-backed bond, right? It becomes a derivative of Bitcoin. So I'm not against bonds, right? I'm not the guy saying we shouldn't have bonds. We should have bonds, right? If the junk bond index is 4% and you can issue a Bitcoin-backed bond at 6%, it's good for the people that have trillions of dollars locked up in bonds. It's good for Bitcoin. It's good for everybody in the middle. Right? We could say, we can take the orthodox draconian view, which is bonds should go away and Bitcoin should replace them overnight, but it's not possible, but it's not even a better view, right?
Yeah.
A better view is you take your bank and you start handling Bitcoin, and you take your mobile app and you build Lightning into the mobile app, and you take your company and you buy it and you buy Bitcoin. And the reason I don't really think it's a threat to the Bitcoin ethos is because ultimately, none of these people can control Bitcoin. Mm-hmm. It's like people worry, like, so I have $7 billion or $8 billion of Bitcoin. I don't have any more power than anybody else, right? And in fact, the only sentiment that's grown in my mind as my Bitcoin position has grown is I don't want anybody to change it. Like, don't mess it up, mm-hmm. right? Right? So I think I'm not threatened if a government buys Bitcoin. It wouldn't be bad for Bitcoin, right? I'm not threatened if a company buys it, if a bank buys it. Here, I guess there's one point worth making. If your portfolio is 100% Bitcoin, you don't have any conflicts of interest. The debate of whether or not people use Square, Cash App, PayPal, Robinhood, Coinbase, Binance, or buy the ETF, or buy it through Fidelity or NYDIG doesn't really matter to you, right? Doesn't matter to you. Whether they buy MicroStrategy stock to get Bitcoin exposure doesn't matter to you, right? You're just holding the underlying asset. If you decide that you want to get in the business of selling hardware wallets, or if you run an exchange, or if you provide advice, now you have a conflict of interest. So now you're a Bitcoin entrepreneur, and maybe like if you're Tether and you're issuing stable coins, you don't want JP Morgan to issue stable coins. Mm-hmm. It's conflict of interest, right?
It's competition.
right? I mean, if the feds say you have to get an FDIC license, now you got to jump through a hurdle. Now you need general counsels. You need to actually pay lawyers. You have to do stuff, right? You have to have nexus. You have to have insurance. It's harder. So there are a lot of things that are happening in the economy. They're good for Bitcoin. They're just not good for every entrepreneur in the crypto ecosystem. And there is a conflict of interest. And that's why, like, people ask me, well, are you going to get into other things? Are you going to build software? Well, that's conflict of interest, you know? Yeah. Are you going to go into Bitcoin mining? That's a conflict of interest. Are you going to, invest with a counterparty? That's conflict of interest, right? So you can do that, but those are businesses and they have investment risk and you have competition and you can fail or succeed. And the truth of the matter is it good for Bitcoin if JP Morgan, Goldman Sachs, and Bank of America issue $10 trillion of USD stable coins and start handling Bitcoin and selling it to all their institutional investors? Yeah, it's good for Bitcoin. Bitcoin's going to $1 million a coin, then $10 million a coin. And all the people that believed in Bitcoin for the last decade are going to have the financial wherewithal to create their own companies to do whatever they want, right? And to express their sentiment. It's just not good for the entrepreneurs that compete against the mega caps.